Alrighty, so She-Hulk Attorney at Law just wrapped up on Disney Plus, and it warrants discussion. That is all I'll say for now. But today I, the Film Watcher, shall be ranking all 9 MCU Disney Plus TV shows from my least favorite to my favorite. I'm not including the Netflix ones, just the ones that were released on Disney Plus and were, when they were released, said to be like official canon of the MCU. I know the Netflix ones are too, but you know. And then I'm not including Werewolf by Night because it's not really a TV show. It's like a special presentation, even though it did debut on Disney Plus. But I already gave my thoughts on that when it came out. So this is just the TV shows ranked. So with that said, let's do this. In last place is She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Now, this is a weird show to talk about because I think the basic idea of the main character's arc is actually pretty good. And Tatiana Maslany is quite good in the role. She brings a lot of personality and charm to it. But when the show actually does focus on her arcs, but when you get into like episode 7 and 8, I think it's pretty good, specifically episode 8. But the show doesn't seem to want to focus on that. Instead, it seems fully content with putting in as many goofy characters and these stupid court cases that mean absolutely nothing and that I personally could not care less about any of them at all, and really awkward fourth wall breaks that weren't they barely even went all the way with the way they were breaking the fourth wall until the last couple episodes, and at that point it went too far, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, so the show doesn't really do a good job of establishing the main character's arc. They establish it, but it's not present. It's not the main focus, at least as much as it should be. It kind of is in episodes 7 and 8, but there's just so much filler fluff and actual terrible stuff on top of it, and so much of it is just so stupid and so unfunny and so poorly written. Why do I care about some idiot in She-Hulk's office thinking he dated Megan Thee Stallion? Why do I need to see She-Hulk and Megan Thee Stallion twerking? Why is that a thing? I don't get it. And then there's so much of that stuff that is just so lame and doesn't need to be there. Then it pads out the show, but I don't care. I don't care. Give me stuff on the actual main character's arc, because that's the stuff that's actually good on this show. It seems like the show and the writers refuse to take anything seriously. So, and then that's where you get into the finale, because by the time episode 8 rolled around and they started taking things a little bit seriously with the way that episode ended. Also, side note, the way they used Daredevil, very good. I like that. I have a lot of problems with this show, but I think they succeeded on that front. But the finale, it is so bad. If this finale worked at all for you, great, good for you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I personally did not at all. I think it started out pretty good, and it seemed like they're gonna start taking it seriously and have Jen do something legally based, which makes sense because she's a lawyer and hasn't really wanted to be a superhero up until this point. But then if they start doing all these convoluted storylines, and it's oh, so this is ending like a typical Marvel Disney Plus show. Dang it. With the stupid twist villain that's a really dumb twist. I didn't see it coming, but I also didn't really care because I cannot stand that character that turned out to be the main villain of the series and that didn't actually do anything. And then Hulk starts showing up, Abomination shows up, and he's marginally larger than the Hulk now. And then I was wait, what's gonna happen? This seems like it's getting too dumb even for this show. And then everything goes bad. Okay, so fourth wall break. I didn't really mind the fourth wall breaks in this show at the beginning, But I think having She-Hulk, like, go into the Disney Plus hub, hop out of her own show, and then go into Marvel Assembled, and then talk to the writers and say, you guys are lazy. It it feels like it doesn't feel clever or creative. It feels like the writers are trying to excuse their own terrible and lazy writing, which isn't a thing that should feel like is happening. And then she goes in and has a conversation with AI Kevin Feige and makes a ton of like references to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how it feels like it's controlled by an AI. Okay. So this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like it's been established for like 14 years at this, but almost 15 years. And now it's just canon to the franchise that She-Hulk can just walk into Kevin Feige's office where they're playing clips from all the movies, and it's just like, what? I had my jaw dropped for this entire thing because I was like, what, wait, what, how does that work if this is it? Okay, this finale is dumb. It raises way too many questions about the established canon, but thankfully it's only in this one terrible show. So I don't really have to see the Infinity Saga as the workings of an AI, but I guess that's how this show decided to see it. I do not understand what the thought process was when they were writing this finale. Like, were they just like, well, the show's not that good anyway, so you know what, let's just go all balls to the walls crazy. Okay, that's just dumb. Like, there was a way to wrap this up. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was off the top of my head, but there's a way to do it. Like, I mean, you can maybe it would have been rushed. It would have been kind of lazy, but it wouldn't have been as lazy as this stupid meta commentary garbage. This doesn't make any sense. It literally like pokes holes in the MCU's canon. It's just dumb. And on top of that, it's even lazier writing than if they'd actually done a conclusion, which still would have been lazy. I don't understand what exactly happened here, but this was literally like the worst way they could have chosen to wrap things up. I didn't expect it. It came completely out of left field. It was not predictable, that I can assure you, but that does not mean anything really, because this is just bad. This is a terrible conclusion to this show. Plus, on top of that, like they do all this meta humor and stuff, which hey, isn't even that funny. And but not only is it done, it is done in place of actually resolving any storylines. So, like episode 3, they set up like this thing about somebody wanting She-Hulk's blood. Yeah, they give an answer to that, and then it's just forgotten about. Like the guy just gets arrested. Okay, that's barely a resolution. She-Hulk's arc is set up in like episode 1, the first episode. Of course it is, because you know it's the main character's character arc. It does not get resolved. Like the story barely gets resolved because they were so focused on doing this clever meta humor thing that is not clever. It's dumb and it's lazy, but they forgot to actually resolve storylines. You cannot do a 20-minute extended bit in place of actually resolving storylines. Every storyline of the season is just dropped so they could do this one thing. That is lazy beyond belief. This is without a doubt my least favorite show of the bunch. It is probably my least favorite project in the MCU. We'll see. No, we won't see. It is. It is my least favorite project in the MCU. Moving on. Number 8 is going to be What If. This is a show that I enjoyed it while it was airing, streaming, yeah. But it's just not that good once I think about it. There are some really good episodes. Like I really like the Doctor Strange one. It's just a very cool what if scenario. And like some of the scenarios themselves are kind of cool, but the episodes and execution just they just didn't do them justice. And there were some scenarios that were just kind of dumb, like Captain Carter doing a version, basically just retelling Captain America the First Avenger with Steve and Peggy's places swapped in like a third of the runtime. Okay. Or like Party Thor, Thor having to clean up a party before his mom gets there. Are you kidding? Like 2 of 9 episodes, and that's what you do with them? I don't get it. And then there's like the finale, which I feel like this would have worked much better as an anthology series and not done this like second-rate half-hour version of the Avengers tacked onto the end. It just feels weird. Like, plus the episode in and of itself isn't that great. I don't think it's that fun. It ends in a really odd way. Like, yeah, of course Killmonger's gonna betray you guys. Why'd you pick him for this group anyway? Like, he's still a villain. Like, he infiltrated a giant country and a giant corporation. The Watcher. Dude, what were you thinking? But yeah. There were some other good episodes. The T'Challa one, the Ultron one, they were pretty good. But overall, I just think this show kind of wasted its concept for the most part. Like, there could have been a ton of, like, super creative scenarios. But no, you got to do Thor throwing a party, and he has to clean it up at the time his mom gets home. That's just weird. Like, I don't... It in a show that could have been, like, super creative, it feels like there was some, like, clever writing in there, but it feels like it just wasn't all that creative in terms of the stories they told. And there's the zombies one, which is... Oh, boy. It's not my least favorite thing in the MCU. We have She-Hulk for that now, but no. I do not like this episode. I think the humor is bad. I think the tone's bad. It's just a mess. And, like, it has, like, one redeeming quality that's Vision, but, like, I don't get why these characters are so, like, nonchalant about killing off their, like, their fellow Avengers. If the whole episode had been about them, like, giving up all hope, I maybe could have bought it. But, like, no. The whole episode's about them trying to find a cure. So, like, and it's not like they're killed in a way where they could just be put back together in zombie form. No, they're, like, blown apart. They're cut in half. This is insanity. This doesn't make any sense. Like, especially when they say these, like, stupid quips after killing off people. It's just, I just thought it was weird. I do not like that episode, and I don't really like most of this show. There's some really good episodes in there, but I feel like a lot of it just wasted the concept. I kind of hope season 2 does some better stuff, but maybe it will. I don't know. Number 7 is Miss Marvel. This is one that I think was set up very well. I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I like Kamala. I think she's fun. Iman Vellani's very good in the role. I liked the family dynamic they set up with her friends as well. I really like the way the show presented, like, the Pakistani culture, which I don't know a ton about, but the show kind of made it interesting. And it had this, like, sense of community to it that just made it kind of nice and charming. Plus, the visual style was really cool. Like, the way they did the texting and stuff, the way they visualized that was neat. But, like, it was, like, episode 4 that just kind of dropped all that. Like, Kamala and her mom go to Pakistan, and it's like, they just abandon everything. Like, the sense of community, gone. Most of her family is gone. The visual style and the texting stuff, that's all gone. The villains are still there, but the villains weren't that great to begin with. I mean, they were okay when they were first introduced, but they just get dumber as time goes on. Like, I don't get why they killed them off in episode 5 as opposed to episode 4. I mean, episode 6. That was just... I just think that was a weird decision. Like, these are the main villains. Why would you kill them off before the finale? Oh, so now we can have Damage Control to be the finale? Be the final boss? That's just... Okay, that's a dumb idea. It's Damage Control. Why are they the main villains of this show? That's dumb. And it's not even the whole department. It's just, like, this one agent that's crazy. What's the deal? Like, they could have had, like, still had the clandestines be part of the finale, like, with the dude Kamran, but nope, it's just Damage Control. So, yeah, like, and the show kind of, like, drops a lot of the stuff about Kamala becoming a superhero and some of the coming-of-age stuff, and instead it, like, chooses to be a history lesson about her family, and what? And like the history behind her powers? Okay, like why? Huh? Why is that in this show? Like that's not at all what they set up before in the first couple episodes. It's just just feels so far removed from what the show had initially been set up to be. So I was just kind of confused watching it. I was like, wait, why is this happening now? Like this could be happening later or not at all. So it's just a kind of a strange way to do the season where it's like halfway through it just kind of takes this totally separate direction and like does a rabbit trail for a third of the show's runtime, and then the finale tries to get things back on track but doesn't really do that great of a job at it. I don't know. It just seemed like a mess and like the show lost its way or something. I don't know what happened. Also, the CGI is just not good. I don't think I mentioned that with She-Hulk. Yeah, the last couple MCU shows have just had really not good CGI. Like when Miss Marvel is like jumping across the sky, that looked ridiculous. I didn't buy that at all. It wasn't convincing in the slightest. So yeah, I think it's a pretty okay show, but it just like went in the wrong direction, and it just kind of soured me on the entire thing, which is, I don't know, it's just a weird way to structure the season the way they did it. Number 6 is I Am Groot, a completely inconsequential yet pretty amusing series of shorts about Groot. It's just Groot doing amusing things. I didn't expect some of the dark humor to be here, like the entire civilization getting crushed by a rock. That was kind of funny. Or like the Groot's dance partner, the shapeshifter dude, getting sucked out into space. Yeah, I wasn't expecting some of this, but I actually remembered, baby Groot has kind of an edge to him. It's cool to see Rocket. I don't know. This show is just, it's like inconsequential. Like, things happen, minor things happen. It's like, they're like 5 minutes apiece, including credits, which are like 2 minutes long for whatever reason, for these 3-minute shorts. I don't get it. Yeah, they exist. They sure do exist. It really just feels like Disney made these because it was like, oh, we need 25, 30 minutes more content from Marvel this year, so get on it, Kev. I don't know. It's fine. I'm probably not going to rewatch it, but good effort. I don't know. Number 5 is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This show, I have mixed feelings on this show. I think it was really good until the last episode. Not great, but it was really good. I really like Sam's arc in this show. The way it deals with like the idea of a black man becoming Captain America, I think it was well written, and it was like a really good foundation for the series. I wasn't sure what direction this show was going to take. I think this was a smart direction to go with it. They did some actual good commentary in there, and I just think the arc worked overall. And like the finale has a lot of mixed elements for me, but I think the thing it got right was having Sam like step in to the mantle of Captain America and like refer to himself as Captain America. And like, yeah, I mean, the speech he gave at the end, yeah, maybe a tad on the nose, but I thought it was good overall. I didn't mind it personally. There were a lot of other things wrong with the finale. I'm foreshadowing a little bit. We'll get there. We'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there. And because the show is called The Falcon and Winter Soldier, I like the chemistry between Sam and Bucky. I mean, Bucky didn't get to do it as much, but he did some stuff. And I like their chemistry. I think the show had some really solid action. I also really like the villains in the show. I honestly don't get the hate for Carly. Like, I think she's a solid antagonist. I really like the performance. She's kind of gets more ruthless as the show goes along. I didn't have a problem with her. I thought she was a solid villain. Then there's John Walker. Man, John Walker. I really like John Walker. It's such a good idea for a villain. Like when he steps out in the Captain America suit with his, it's just like, what? Who is this dude? What? Huh? Huh? But yeah, I think he was set up really well to be like the main antagonist for this series. I really like the way he was written too. Like he was portrayed as like this like good man who like thought he was doing the right thing, but he had the good intentions, but he was just kind of on the wrong path, wasn't doing as good things as he thought he was. And on top of that, I think Wyatt Russell gave a really good performance. Like he portrayed the character with a lot of depth and complexity. He could have just played him as like this excessively patriotic, ruthless murderer dude. I mean, he kind of gets there at points, but he could have just played them as that from the start. Or he could have just made him. Where is he? He could have just made him Gaston. And that would, as funny as that would be, something just fell over. As funny as that would be, and as much as I would have enjoyed that, I do kind of like this better. I don't know. I think this was a really good way to write this character. But then the finale showed up and was like, "Hey, you know what's a great idea? Not that." Yeah. What happened with this finale? Because I was really excited for how they were going to wrap up the show. And because this was only the second Disney Plus show, so I wasn't expecting to be disappointed or anything. But like, it was like all the pieces were laid out. You know, Walker shows up, starts causing havoc, kills Carly in cold blood. Sam does something to stop him. You know, something to do with the power broker that doesn't involve Sharon Carter. We'll get there. I don't know, something other than what they did. Like, John Walker shows up, starts being evil. Okay, good start. We're getting some good villainy from John Walker. And then he just decides to be good again. What? What? Why would you... Like, Okay. If they had written this character differently, I maybe wouldn't mind that they redeemed him, but they wrote the character so well to become like the final boss, like the main antagonist. So why would they just go back on all that and just have him become like a hero again? Like he's running down hallways with Sam and Bucky, and I'm just like thinking, what? What? They just fought in the last episode. Like, why is this happening? They should be fighting him right now. He should be the main villain. And then he becomes U.S. agent at the end, which feels like totally unearned because he's a hero by the end. What? Are you kidding me? Like, this is just such an odd way to end this character's arc. Like, they set it up so well, but then they just drop the ball on it. What's the deal here? Man, and then there's the power broker twist. Wow. Just wow. This is as stupid as what they did with John Walker is. This is worse. Like, Sharon is such a boring character in this show. She's barely acting like the same person as she did before in the Captain America film she was in. Like, I get that the government betrayed her, but they didn't set this up at all. It was done. It was revealed in like the stupidest way possible. Where Carly's just like, "Oh, so you're the power broker," and Sharon's like, "Yeah." Come on, do better than that. Do better than this, Marvel. And it's like she has like no presence as a villain at all. Because she gets like 3 minutes to actually talk like a villain, and she doesn't talk like a villain. She talks like kind of the same person, except not, because her motivations still don't make sense. And then she's the one to kill Carly, which so obviously should have been Walker. Come on, writers, did you watch the show you were writing? What? I do not get this. And then, like, I guess she's just gonna infiltrate the government now? I don't like the way they ended this show. I just think it was a mess. And it just really kind of soured my whole experience on it. Yeah, it's a shame. Number 4 is WandaVision. Now, this is another show that I don't think stuck the landing that well. better than Falcon and Winter Soldier, but still not great. I think it was like, I feel like they let Wanda off a little too easy. Like, I mean, yeah, she did give up her family that she knew for like a couple days. I mean, there was Vision in there, so like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there was a way to do this that didn't involve like her being told they'll never know how much you sacrificed for them. Even if they did know, who cares? She enslaved all of them and made them like trapped in their own minds for a week. Doing like, she imprisoned them in their own bodies. They had no control over their actions. Like, the amount of pain she caused, they would not care if she gave up 2 kids to fake children that she invented 4 days ago. They would not care. It would not matter. So, yeah, and on top of that, the battle between Agatha and Wanda, it's a bit generic MCU superhero final boss, big red clouds in the air, people shooting magic at each other. And this is like a weird, quirky show, so it feels like they should have done something a little bit weirder and quirkier. I don't know, something more than this, but even with that, I really enjoyed this show. Like, I think Wanda's arc was really good, especially when you get into like her backstory in like episode 8, where they dive into all this stuff, the reason she created this whole thing. I think that it did a really good job of like kind of gradually revealing everything that was going on with Wanda. And like, Elizabeth Olsen freaking knocks it out of the park here. She is so good in this show, man. And like, I like Vision in the show. I like pretty much all like the sitcom characters, like the side characters too, even in like the real world. Jimmy Woo, Monica Rambeau. I thought the way she got powers was kind of stupid, but yeah, I like her anyways. But I think the show does a really good job with most of the sitcom scenarios. Episode 7 was, but they were gearing up for the finale, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, I think like they did a good job of like impersonating some of these sitcoms, most of which I haven't actually seen. I really should, but yeah, this was just a very cool idea for a show where they did like a different sitcom decade each week. It was just cool, and they pulled all of them off really well. I think the Agatha twist was good. I really enjoyed her as a character. She was just a lot of fun. Catherine Hahn is a really good actress, and she was clearly having a blast with this show. It got kind of goofy towards the end, but I mean, she was always kind of an over-the-top, goofy villain. She's not like super dark or creepy or anything like that, but she's cool. I like her. I don't really like the way they use Hayward. Like, I think he's solid for the first, like, until, like, episode 9, maybe episode 8. But he just gets so goofy by the end. It is like, you know, Jimmy, you could have been part of the solution. If only you'd had a bit more vision. Get it? Because WandaVision... Yeah, you see what I mean. Oh, jeez, that's a stupid line. I mean, they'll never know how much you sacrifice for them is worse. Yeah, but this is still dumb. Yeah, but either way. I really like this show. I think it's not perfect. It has some issues, but I think it does a lot of things very well. Number 3 is going to be Hawkeye. This is a show that I really enjoyed. Here's some of the problems out of the way first. The villains were a bit of a mixed bag. I thought Maya Lopez was solid. I don't think she was great, but I liked her. The Tracksuit Mafia was kind of fun. Kate Bishop's mom. Really? Really? This is like one of your big villains? Okay. Bad. Like, that's just stupid. I know they kind of teased it before. If I'm being completely honest, I'm pretty sure I predicted that Kate Bishop's mom was going to be a villain based on, like, the first line she said in the very first trailer. I don't know how, but I don't know. Yeah. She's not a very good villain. You know who is a good villain? Kingpin. You know who they don't really use that well in this show? Kingpin. Yeah, I feel like Kingpin should have been in more of this show. He was taken out a bit too easily, but, I mean, I will take any amount of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin that I can get, and it was cool to see him again. Especially, like, he got to wear a fedora. Come on. That's awesome. But yeah, overall, I think this show was a lot of fun. I really, really like what they did with Kate Bishop as well as Clint Barton, kind of wrapping up Clint's storyline. I don't know if I wouldn't mind seeing him again, but I feel like this is a natural conclusion for his arc. Like, they don't need to show him again. I think like I feel like it was just nice. Like, he was trying to get back to his family. He was trying to help out Kate Bishop. He kind of grows to learn about her, to care about her. And like he's like fighting for a really good cause. So yeah, it's just a compelling journey that he's on, and I think this might be the best performance that Jeremy Renner has given in the role, for me personally at least. I really like Kate Bishop too. Like, I think she's just a really fun new addition. She has great chemistry with Clint Barton. They're just a fun duo. I really like when the show's just kind of like not doing a bunch of superhero stuff and they're just kind of hanging out in like her crazy aunt's apartment. And there's just some fun stuff in this show. The Tracksuit Mafia, the live action role players, Jack Duquesne just being like a red herring, but he's like, it's like they're very obviously trying to be like, oh, this guy might be the villain, but no, it's kind of clear that that's not where they're taking things. But he's just a goofy dude who likes swords and has an epic mustache. But yeah, I really enjoyed him. Rogers the Musical. Fabulous. Phenomenal. Disney, release a full version of Rogers the Musical. Please. It'd be so good. It'd be so much fun. Oh, man. It'd be better than half of these shows. It'd be better than like 5 of these shows. Anyway. But yeah, I'd really, really enjoy this series. Plus, it's Christmas themed. It's a Christmas show. I'm a sucker for Christmas stuff. But yeah. Very, very good show. Solid Marvel. I'm going to watch this again around holiday time. Number 2 is going to be Moon Knight. This is a really good show. It has some problems. I think the finale was kind of rushed. I don't think the setup was rushed, but the finale itself was a bit rushed. I feel like they could have taken more time with a lot of things, like the birth of Amit, the epilogue being longer than a minute. I don't know. Jake Lockley, like, we get a single line out of him, and then maybe Harrow's dead. Okay. I also kind of wish we got to see Harrow be taken out instead of using that to tease Jake Lockley. Like, they teased Jake Lockley plenty at that point. Like, you don't need to do it during the final battle of the series. So, that was a bit weird. I don't know. But I just enjoyed this show. Like, even though, like, the story as a whole, I think it took a little bit for me to get like fully invested in it, but I think what really hooked me on this show was the main character. Mark Spector / Stephen Grant / Jake Lockley / Moon Knight / Mr. Knight. Right? Yeah. He was just a fascinating character with like a ton of layers to him. You want to see more of him, you want to learn more about him, and a lot of that is within Oscar Isaac's performance. He is fantastic in this show. Like, he's able to do like the intensity of Mark, kind of the anger of him, the sweet-natured innocence of Steven, the one line of Jake Lockley. I don't know how much action he actually got to do, but if he got to do any, he did it well. That was not a very good point to make. I don't know if he actually did any action in this show. He was covered in a suit most of the time, but whatever. Anyway, I really like him in this show. Fantastic character. I would love to see more of him. We should get a second season of this. They're making What If Season 2. They're not making this. Marveled Zombies, of all things. Really? I don't know. Anyway, I also really like Khonshu. I think he was funny, and he was manipulative, and I found his relationship with Mark to be just interesting. And again, kind of part of what makes Mark so fascinating. I like Layla. She was cool. I like that she became a superhero at the end. That was pretty neat. I really like Harrow as a villain. Ethan Hawke did a really good job. And he just had this kind of like a super unsettling vibe to him that just made him weirdly likable. And it had like interesting motivations that were explained in like a clear way. So it's not a perfect show. It has some issues, but it's just a really good show. But number one is Loki. This this is great. I really, really like this show. Um it has a lot of like really interesting conceptual stuff. I really like the way it's done as like a procedural crime thing, sort of, while also feeling like it's still set in the same universe, unlike other She-Hulk-ish things. But I'm gonna stop talking about She-Hulk now. I'm gonna talk about the good show. But yeah, I think Loki is probably maybe the best he's ever been in this show, at least as a hero of sorts. His arc is just interesting, where he's kind of learning to accept himself and actually like himself in some way. Big part of that is his relationship with Sylvie, which was complicated because she's him and he's her, but it was still nice. Like, they had really good chemistry, and I think they were a really fun duo. Same goes for Loki and Mobius. I really like Mobius. Man, I can't believe we never got to see him ride a jet ski. Wow. Yeah, a lot of really good characters in the show. I like the way they kind of built up to everything going on with the TVA and established like the side characters' perspectives on it. I think the show was paced really well, and it actually like took its time to tell the story. It wasn't a super long story, so it didn't need like it could have all of the like action stuff and the fun stuff, like with the variants and stuff. That was so cool. It could have all that stuff, but it could also like tell the story it wanted to. Like, it did all this neat stuff with the TVA and like the Infinity Stones just being completely useless now. So, and like a lot of like the writing in this show was just really, really good. I think the finale is one of the very few that like properly closes things out. Actually, I'm gonna go through the list that I got here of these shows. Yeah, this and maybe Hawkeye, like the only finales that close things out properly. Oh man, that's a shame. Moon Knight kind of, but let's just talk about Loki's finale. It was really good. Like, I was very scared that Miss Minutes was going to be the main villain. Then when she popped up, I was like, I don't know, but she wasn't. So that was good. I really like the way they revealed Kang. Jonathan Majors is clearly having a blast with the performance, and the way the show ended, it like made me wanting more of both this show and what the repercussions were gonna be for the actual universe. It's been over a year, and we just got an entire show about a green chick who twerks with Megan Thee Stallion. I said I was going to stop talking about She-Hulk, but yeah, I really, really like Loki. I love Loki. I think it's a great show. It has a lot of interesting concepts, interesting dialogue, really good characters, a world with the TVA that I want to see more of. And, like, I'm actually excited for a second season of this. So, yeah, it is certainly my favorite of these shows. So that is my ranking of all 9 MCU Disney Plus shows in, well, now it's the end of Phase 4 for the TV shows at least. So thank you guys for watching. Leave your own lists in the comment section down in the below. Thanks for watching. I already said that, and keep calm and watch on.